Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. So last week was slow. I was finishing up my term for school. So that was a real slow week. I don't know how many videos I got to put out, maybe 3 or 4 last week. But this week we're coming with some more content. We're going to have a video from, at this point, today's Tuesday. We should have a video every day. Probably will have some days where there's going to be 2 videos. I have an analytics video that I'm working on. And this is basically going to cover my opinions on analytics when it comes to sports, how to properly be able to consume analytics and stats when it comes to sports and when it comes to anything. So stay tuned for that video. And then I also have a Giants highlight kind of hype up video that I'm just going to put together. I used to do one every year, but I'm going to try to put one out in the next couple of weeks, if not this week. So stay tuned for those 2 videos. Those will probably be one of your extra videos. And of course, members will probably get those 2 videos first. But this Julio Jones thing, Giants fans, they seem to get excited whenever you got a player like this that's on the market. Eagles fans are the only team I see get more excited than Giants fans, because Eagles fans, they not only get excited about players, they also say these players want to come to the Eagles. Like that, I saw the way, the way that he typed that E. He wants to come to the Eagles. Eagles fans are crazy, but Giants fans are getting up there. We're getting a little crazy too. Should we trade for Julio Jones? I don't think so. I don't think we should trade for Julio Jones, because we have, what we're looking at now is a solid receiving core. And the proposed trade I saw, I think this was Ash Money, who said that we should trade Sterling Shepard and a 2nd round pick for Julio Jones. First off, the money that Julio is going to be paid is going to be too much. It's going to be too much going forward for what we probably want to do next year. That's the first thing. But let's just throw the money out of the window. Throw the money out the window. We can always push money around. We can always do whatever we have to do to move that around. So that's fine. Say the money's not a problem. And then 2, looking at the Falcons, would they take that trade, first of all? Would they take Sterling Shepard and a 2nd round pick over a team's 1st round pick? That's something that you would have to consider, because is that 1st round pick receiver that you might take, or 1st round pick, whatever player that you might take, more impactful than Sterling Shepard and a 2nd round pick? That's something that you think about. The Giants, we will be able to afford to give away our 2nd round pick, because we have 2 firsts, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. So it wouldn't really be too much to deal with to have to give up a 2nd round pick and Sterling Shepard. But my thing is this. I think the Giants are in a good position. At some point, it's not Madden. It's not fantasy football. Again, it's not Madden Ultimate Team. We're not just trying to just throw all the star players out there, or all the, players that we feel are the best players. Sure, you want the best players, but you're not just trying to just recruit guys just because they're the best players and, all throw them all on one team. It just doesn't work that way. You have to have a team. And what we're building right now looks like a great team. And this isn't me saying that Julio Jones will come in and be some distraction, because Julio Jones comes from Alabama. Julio Jones is a receiver that's not a diva at all. And if we were to give up any kind of picks for a top wide receiver, he will be at the top of my list. But the thing is, we just went out and got Golladay. We got Kadarius Toney. Toney is already going to be worked slowly into the system, in my opinion, as like that every down kind of receiver. He still has some refinement to do in that receiving game. So he's not going to be your 2nd receiver, I don't think, right off the bat. So at that point, Golladay is you're expecting Golladay to get 70 catches, right? Maybe a little bit more. You hope that he takes that step up. So you're expecting Golladay to get somewhere between 70 and 85 to 87 catches, something like that. And for all the people that try to say Golladay, he's not a route runner, he's not a possession receiver. Golladay had 70 catches a couple of seasons ago, so he's someone that can do that. And with him improving and the offense improving and him being the #1 target, undoubtedly, he could possibly get that many targets and that many catches. So you're expecting that from him, and you want him to improve. And then you want Darius Slayton to improve probably, because if Sterling Shepard is leaving, Darius Slayton is your guy after that. So I expect Slayton to get, 35, 40 catches because there's a ton of people here. And then again, you want Kadarius Toney to improve. So you want him probably at least around 40 catches. And then you what are you doing with Evan Ingram? That's probably why I would look at trading Evan Ingram too. What are you doing with Kyle Rudolph? And it's not as complicated as I'm making it seem, really, because Julio Jones is a better player than all of them. So he would deserve those targets. But my point is this. Julio Jones is getting older. Receivers have shown to play longer. Julio Jones is getting older, and he's also always injured. Sterling Shepard on the bench is going to cost us, what, $6-7 million. Him on the bench, if he's not playing, he's getting paid $6-7 million. Julio Jones is getting paid about $10 million more than that to sit on the bench. We don't know how often he'll play. Of course, if he came here, he'd probably be the number one receiver. Kenny Golladay, how's that going to make him feel as someone we just brought in, and all of a sudden now he's just the number two option? And I just think it's just unnecessary. I just don't think that we need to trade for Julio Jones when we have all of these picks. We're at a point where we feel like most Giants fans feel like this team, at worst, is an 8 or 9 win team. And we feel like this is the chance that we have to finally make the playoffs. And then on top of that, once you do that and you make the playoffs, you have the Bears' first round pick, you have an extra third round pick, and you have an extra fourth round pick. Why mess up that second round pick that you have too? Because you're in a position to get, the way that we've been drafting lately, you're in a position to get what? First round pick, second round pick, third round, fourth round. The way that the Giants have been drafting recently, that right there is 7 players that we can take that are projected to be significant contributors. So I'm expecting us to package some of those picks because I don't think we need that many spots, but that's going to give us a lot of depth. That's going to give us a lot. So why just, start to trade away some of those picks for someone who's aging, someone who's injury prone, and someone that, yes, is a great receiver and might be the best receiver in the league if he's healthy, but do we really need another top flight receiver that needs to get 130 targets? So I'm not a fan of making this trade. I don't think we should make this trade. But if we made it, I wouldn't be angry. I mean, no one's going to be angry about getting Julio Jones. But I just don't think that we need to make this trade. But I just think this is just, at the end of the day, unnecessary. It's one of those things that you're in the grocery store and you see something that you usually wouldn't eat, and it's on sale for 5 of them for $2. So you say, let's just get it just because it's out there. But just because we have the resources and just because he's on the market and he's a good player doesn't mean that we need to trade that. If we really want to make a trade, we need to be trading for an offensive lineman. We need to be looking to sign Trey Turner. We need to be looking to address that. Some places where we have some needs. We've addressed the wide receiver position. We added Golladay. We added Toney. We added Ross as depth. See how he pans out. Just let some of these guys marinate. I don't think that any of them will be better than Julio Jones. But Julio doesn't have much time left. We're not a team. People are saying if we sign Julio Jones, that's going to take us from being a playoff team to a Super Bowl team. But guys, we have to make the playoffs first. We haven't shown that we can make the playoffs with this team first. So let's make the playoffs and then worry about doing all of that unnecessary, killing a bug with the machine gun kind of approach. You don't really need to do that. You really don't need to add a player like this when your team is already ascending. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Julio Jones, I wouldn't trade for him, but if the Giants did magically trade for him, I wouldn't say I wouldn't be happy, but I don't think it's necessary. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.